United States where they say, well, you're technically rich when you make over $250,000 a year. I know during the Obama era, that's what I think they based it off of. And so, if you're making $200,000-300,000 a year, well, that's, rich. You're making a lot of money. So there's a lot of rich people when you look at it like that. There's a lot of professions. Like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur or business owner to make $300,000 a year. To the average person, that's rich. But just because you make $300,000 a year does not mean you're wealthy, because the average person not the average person, or the average person that makes that much money, they probably got a lot of expenses. So they might not necessarily be a business-oriented person. They might have a quote-unquote high-paying job, or as what we were talking about, the golden handcuffs. They got the job that pays them a lot, but it requires a heck of a lot of their time. So they're at the office all day, all night. And they got these quote-unquote good benefits of 401k and retirement plan, all that good stuff. But it probably eats up a heck of a lot of their time. And they might have a high mortgage. They might got a couple cars they're paying the notes on. So they make a lot of money. So technically they would be rich. But you'll see a lot of athletes, they end up broke because they're rich, but they're not wealthy. Wealth, let me say it like this. Let's say you got that good high paying job and you make, whatever a month, $10,000 a month, or it might be $20,000, $30,000 a month, but you break your legs, can't go to work, or such and such happens and you gotta miss work for 2-3 months. How long can you survive? How much money do you have in reserve? Guess what? In America, most people don't have $1,000 in the bank. Most people don't have $1,000. This is a study. This is fact what I'm talking about. Most people in this country don't have $1,000 in the bank. So how long can you survive? Wealth, look at it as survivability. How long can you survive? Make it real simple. Let's say you make $1,000 a week. If you make $1,000 a week and you got $4,000 in the bank, you lose your job, you don't have no more income. And this is crazy because this just happened with the coronavirus. You have no more income, but you got $4,000 in the bank, right? How long can you survive? Because all your expenses, let's just make it simple, all your expenses come up to $3,000 a month. But you got $4,000 in the bank. That's how much wealth you got. $4,000. That means how long can you survive? You can survive for 1 month. Because if your expenses are $3,000 a month and you got $4,000 in reserves, you could survive for 1 month. That's how you look at wealth. That's wealth. You understand? Wealth is how long you can survive. So when you're talking about wealthy, we talk about things over generations, decades, generations of time. So in America, America got wealthy off of slavery and cotton. And so people are living off of money that was generated 400 years ago. That's how much money was generated through slavery. So that's how this country got rich. On a minute level, let's talk about you and your household. You have to have investments in real resources. Real estate is a great investment. It's a real resource. Land is always going to be worth something, right? Homes, houses have equity. The value will go up, whereas a car, it's going to decrease. So in order to build wealth, you have to invest in something that is a true asset. Something that will always be worth something over a period of time. And it doesn't require you to do the physical work. The problem with a lot of people is we have to physically work in order to make money. If you have to physically do the work in order to make money, all your money and all your survivability is based on you, right? So it's going to always be hard. It's going to be real hard for you to build wealth because you always have to do the work. Unless you got a massively high paying job, unless you're like LeBron James or a lot of NBA players. They get paid so much more than the average person, astronomical amounts of money, that it's easier for them to build wealth because they got so much money and they really can't do nothing but invest it, the smart ones. Now, you can waste it fast too. But so look at wealth and rich. Look at rich as just a lot of money. You might make a lot of money, but you might have a lot of expenses. You might have a lot of fancy cars. Wealth is how long you can survive over a period of time. You understand? So how long could you survive if you lost your job? And the sad thing, what we see in this country, is most people can't survive, and that's why there was so much unemployment. They couldn't survive, and everybody had to rely on the federal government to bail them out. So now you'll probably look at things a little different from a political perspective and say, when the federal government has to give assistance of money, there's a lot of people that have no wealth because they're totally dependent on someone else, and someone else has to bail them out. So wealth is built off of a resource that's cultivated over a period of time. And how long you can survive determines how much wealth you got. So if you only have $1,000 in your bank account, but it takes $3,000 to $4,000 for you to live a month, you really don't have any wealth. So that's a simplistic way to look at it. Hopefully you'll get some of these courses and I can expound on that.